Hey, everybody. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. I do appreciate it. I got a real treat this time around. No, it's not a solo episode, not my reflections and thoughts on life. I actually have a guest, a very cool guest, very special guest. I'm going to not waste any of his time or mine or yours. I'm just going to bring him to the show. Some of you have met him. Mr. Apollos Coleman, a.k.a. Uncle Bebe. How you doing?
Oh, boy. I'm in bliss here in Southern California. Sun shining. It's 80 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. And happy to be alive.
Happy to be alive. Yeah, I hear that. Well, you're familiar with the show, sir.
Yes, I've heard your show.
Okay. All right. So you know how this rolls. I feel like I'm starting a game show. What did you want to be when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Oh, man. It went from everything. It changed like every 2 weeks. I wanted to be a cowboy. I loved cowboy movies and TV shows, and I wanted to be a horse.
You wanted to be an animal. All right. That is a first. I
wanted to be Trigger. Trigger was the coolest horse. Roy Rogers' horse, Trigger. He was a Palomino. He's beautiful. He's smart, and he could do anything that a human being could do. Then I guess I wanted to be a doctor. My mom, your grandmother, my mom lost a baby when I was 10, and it really had an effect on me. And I swore that I was going to be an obstetrician, and no woman would ever lose a baby again, because I was going to save all the babies. And
how old were you at this time?
That was 10.
Okay.
It's not to get so graphic, but I watched my mother bleeding, and it had a lasting effect on me. Of course, she was saved when the ambulance came to take her to the hospital. We're talking about 1962.
Wow.
And from then on, I was going to be a doctor. Everybody told me I was going to be a doctor, and I started believing I was going to be a doctor until I didn't want to be a doctor after I grew up and found out there were other things to do in life. And especially didn't want to be obstetrician or anything. I thought that it would have a real negative effect on my marriage life after looking at women all day. Honestly, I guess.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm not trying to be too graphic or anything, but I thought that I wanted to have the white picket fence and the station wagon and 3.2 kids and a dog and all of that stuff.
Right.
I grew up in a time when the Donna Reed show, Leave It to Beaver, My Three Sons, that the American dream.
Yeah, classic American nuclear
classic
family.
American dream. And that's what I thought I wanted. I guess I never had anyone as a mentor that I wanted to emulate. My uncles had both my mother and father. My father was kind of standoffish, and he was there, but he wasn't there. So my uncles, I really gravitated toward. They would spend time with me. And I think I was blessed but cursed. I was blessed because I could do anything, just about anything. I was really good at sports, really good at just school, but I never knew really what I wanted to do. Everything kind of came too easy if you think about that. I mean, if you
How old were you when you kind of had this epiphany, started realizing that, okay, you don't want to be an obstetrician, but you kind of got it. I won't say anything you touch, but most things you touch, you can be successful at it with some work behind you.
Yeah, it was, I guess I knew early on, like 7th grade.
Okay.
When you're in elementary school, you're with a certain set of kids, and it's a very small world, and you're the king of those kids. You're the smartest kid in the school. That's okay. Then you go to junior high school, and the competition gets a little bit harder. And then high school is even harder. And then college, wow, maybe I'm not the smartest person in the room, that kind of thing. But I've always been able to get good grades. Whether I just always studied. I never missed class, even in college. I always took the early 8 o'clock class. I took great notes, and I never read a book. Never read the book. I don't care if it was calculus or trigonometry or Chaucer or whatever. I could just listen to the lecture, make copious notes, and I knew what he was going to emphasize. And a couple of days before the test, I studied my notes, and I was able to ace it. And it sounds like a blessing when it's happening, but after a while, you don't have any study habits. I had no study habits. And I realized that at college. I applied to Harvard, Yale, Princeton out of high school because I had the SAT scores and the grades. And everybody told me how great I was, but in my heart of hearts, I knew I wasn't the smartest kid in the school. There was kids that studied and had developed study habits and were really, really smart. I'm just kind of lucky. So when I got accepted by Yale, turned down by Harvard, turned down by Princeton, and I was the quarterback of the football team. I was center fielder for the baseball team. I got drafted by the White Sox. Didn't want to be a jock. This is a time Vietnam is going on, and it's the hippie movement, and you don't want to be a jock. And I had the SAT scores and the grades, so why should I have to take an athletic scholarship? I turned down Purdue, Syracuse, schools like mid-rung schools, not the USC's and Notre Dame's of the time. Right. I played quarterback, and they wanted me to be a defensive back. Wasn't going to be.
You saying you played quarterback in high school and
high school? I was all conference in high school. In Los Angeles, all conferences is almost like all state.
Right.
And I was all conference, second team, all conference. But I thought that I could go anywhere and do anything because I had the grades. But in the middle of the summer, I could not afford to go to Yale. My father was going to cost more than my father made to get me into Yale and to pay for Yale. Going back to not being able to afford to go to Yale, in the middle of the summer, all of a sudden I'm big man on campus, Phoebe Award winner, graduation speaker, and all this stuff. I have no place to go. But I remember this guy coming to my high school trying to recruit Black students to the University of Montana. And I was in the back with my Letterman's jacket on in back of the room saying, yeah, what country is that in? Montana. I forgot that I'm born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. I forgot that Montana was even a state.
Right.
So I called the guy and sent him my transcripts. They gave me a full academic ride.
Wow. And
I took a Greyhound bus to Salt Lake and then Intermountain Line from Salt Lake to Missoula, Montana, 33 hours on the bus, fat ladies and crying babies, greasy chicken sacks. It's like in a movie. My mother packed a lunch. I had never seen snowfall.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's plenty of snow up there. Yeah.
Plenty of snow in Montana. And I was afraid. I said, okay, I'm in college now. I said, maybe it's going to be tougher. I said, God, can I make it? Can I do well? And I tried to study, but I hadn't developed any study habit.
So you went to Montana State is what?
No, University of Montana.
University of Montana. Okay. Okay.
I went to the
you said Missoula. Okay.
Missoula, that's the hippie school, and Montana State was the cowboy school because they had a rodeo team.
Oh, okay. They got a different
And
crowd there nowadays, I can tell you that. It's
oh boy,
yeah.
I there were 11,000 students on campus, 54 black students, 18 girls. I never forget that statistic. 18 black girls, and we had all come from inner city. The same guy went to Chicago, went to New York, went to LA, and tried to get some students to come there,
Uh-huh.
offering scholarships. And nobody had any money. I shared a room with my two sisters. We were your mother and your aunt. My
Right.
two couldn't even go through puberty in peace. But anyway, that's another story. That's another story. Oh, he's doing it again. He's so nasty. God dang it, Apollos, I'm going to come in there and kick you. I'm starting to cry. I can't have on my flashlight in Playboy magazine underneath the covers. 2 o'clock in the morning. What are they doing awake in the first place? But anyway, I digress. I'm sorry.
It's all
I
good.
digress. So
So you're in Missoula. You
Missoula, Montana.
you literally bust in, and
And actually bus there. Greyhound bus only went as far as Salt Lake City. You had to take this rickety bus called the Intermountain Line from Salt Lake to Missoula. And I'm looking out the window going, Lord, what am I doing here? How did I get here? I was going to Yale. And I don't know what to expect.
right.
But that's part of growing up. That's when you just turn 18, and school, after the first 2 weeks, I found out school was just like college was just like high school. It wasn't that hard.
Pretty much, yeah.
And so I kind of breezed through college. And my mom got sick with a brain aneurysm my sophomore year, and I had to leave Montana and come home.
Mm.
It was such a departure from what I was used to growing up that I loved it. I loved the freedom. I liked the people. I was doing interesting things. I was learning new things. I think your original question was, what did I want to be when I grew up?
No. This is you answered that question.
Yeah,
this is where we force your hand to tell your life story. Like I've said many times on this show, unless you're a celebrity, this is probably the only time you'll get that chance. Or you write your own book. The sappy story I always give is, with technology the way it is, one day you're just going to be a man in a book, if they even still have books, in a photo album, and somebody 50 years from now is going to go, who's that guy? Who's that guy with the mustache? Because he has a mustache, folks. And there may not be anyone in there. Maybe my old bud will know, or remember. And I'll say, you want to know who he is? Press play. And we will listen to what you are doing, right, what you're saying right now, and that'll give them perspective to the man in the picture. And that's true for any of the guests that have been on the show prior. That's my sappy, one of my sappy reasons for the show. You get to tell your story, and it may be the only time you get to do it, outside of somebody doing it for you after you pass away. At least you got a chance to tell your story. So, you tell whatever part you want to tell. You answered the question. You're back from Missoula. I feel for you. Because...
But in Missoula, I discovered that I love geology. I've always collected rocks as a kid, out of the alleys, up at a construction site. When they unearthed or did some digging to make an apartment building, I would find rocks, and I would take them and put them in a box. I would find out, look in the encyclopedia, go over to the Museum of Natural History, try to see if I could see a rock like that, which very rarely I did because they had real gemstones. Right. But I wanted to be a geologist. I wanted to be a rock hound. I thought that the alluvial fan and all these things that I never even could conceive of in Los Angeles, I learned, and I really liked being outdoors because I was a ghetto Boy Scout. I forgot to go through that. So I loved being outdoors. Scouting was a big thing in the 50s and the 60s, early 60s. Really big thing in America. And I'm proud to say I was, I never made it to Eagle Scout or anything, but I was a ghetto Boy Scout.
There
And
you
I
go.
loved it.
There you
I
go.
loved it. But coming back to Montana, I mean, coming back to USC, I transferred home to USC. My father assumed that I was going to go to UCLA because it was so much cheaper, but I was born and raised a block from the campus. I had a USC library card before I had a public library card. I was a bad boy when I was for the team, and I always saw those rich kids going to that school, and I said, I'm going to do that one day. And my mother told me we would never be able to afford it. But I said, I buckled down and worked. I know I was going to, you know, do well in school. Anyway, I worked. I delivered Arrowhead water when they were glass bottles, 5-gallon bottles when they weighed 52 pounds apiece.
Whoa.
I worked hard in the morning, and I took afternoon classes. I did my route, delivered my water, and got back and took afternoon classes. And I had no life at the University of Montana, because I lived in the dorms on campus. I knew everybody. You know, you go to all the parties and all of that, you know, stuff. Here, I graduated, you know, with honors, and then I said, God, what am I going to do? I'm like, I don't want to go to law school. I gave up on that doctor idea. So I took a job with Procter and Gamble. They came on campus trying to recruit students, go into sales, and I always had a gift of gab, and they were offering a company car and an expense account.
What year was
And
this?
this was 1974.
Oh, okay.
1974, I made more money than my father made, and I had a company car. I didn't have to pay for gas or maintenance or insurance or anything. That sure was a lot better than that old beat up American Motors Gremlin that I used to drive. The ugliest car in America. My father was trying to, he said, that's the only thing I'm a co-sign for. You're going to buy an American car.
Oh boy.
And I said, if I drive this car, I'm not going to have any girlfriends. Nobody's going to want to date me. And my father said, that's the point. That's what I want to happen. You need to concentrate on school. Take care of your career. All of that stuff, other stuff will come later on.
Right.
But
Right.
now all of a sudden you're involved. He hasn't been involved to this point. You know your grandfather.
I know.
So,
I know. I'm letting you
yeah.
tell it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I worked with Procter and Gamble. This is still in the line of work and stuff. I started with Procter and Gamble. I worked for 3M. I remember when Post-it notes was a brand new. I knew the guy who invented the Post-it note. Was an LI tape division for them. I worked for 3M, made me a manager of Oregon and Washington, and I went up to Seattle and worked there.
Oh.
I worked for AT&T before they broke up the Bell system.
That's when
Before
I
Jeff
came
Green.
along. I remember that. That's
Yeah,
when you were up in Seattle, and
I was up in Seattle.
my little cousin would come down from time to time with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Golly. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about I've always been the consummate big brother, always having to take care of my two younger sisters. That's just the way it had to go back in the day. Make sure you take them to the store, you hold their hands and the whole bit. So your mom was pregnant with you, and I went to visit her, and I took your aunt Denise and your grandmother up to see her. Your father was at Fort Ord in the Army, and I took them up to Fort Ord to see Phyllis, your mother, before you were born.
Mm-hmm.
And since I had money, we wanted to go to a movie. Your father had to work on base that day, so I took them to a movie, and they didn't want to go see what I wanted to see. But I said, I'm paying for it, so we're going to see Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh.
Close Encounters. I love sci-fi. I always have.
Right.
I
Same
love
here.
the movie. Richard Dreyfuss. I could relate to it because driving back and forth to Montana in that ugly gremlin, I thought I've seen, a couple of flying
That is
saucers.
a drive. You would drive from Montana to California?
Los Angeles to Los Angeles to Missoula, Montana.
How many hours is that?
It's 21-hour drive.
Wow.
It was 33 hours on the bus because they made all these stops and
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
And I was flying. I was flying in that Gremlin.
Yeah, I've only seen it from the sky when we pass over, what is it, Wyoming? And yeah, I'm heading east to the East Coast. They bring you down south usually and make you transfer from Denver or Chicago or something like that. But there is nothing like
Absolutely nothing.
absolutely, but it's beautiful at the same time. I love it. I'm not talking about Montana necessarily, but just when you get in between the states, man, it is truly unexplored territory, or it's seemingly, because you'll see a home just in the middle of nowhere up on a mountain. It's like, wow,
That's
who is
right.
living there?
That's right. I live in the heart of the city in Los Angeles, but I have friends that I from college that I still love. We talk in text almost every day. I'm going to visit, and I'm still, after all these years, I went back for the 50-year reunion, even though I didn't graduate from there, just to see my friends,
Yeah,
just to see the kids that were, and we just picked up where we left off. It was the best times of my life. Uh,
I believe that.
being at the University of Montana.
What So you have friends that stayed there, apparently.
Yes, yes, and some people, they're from most of them are from Montana.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, no, because
One of my roommates was from Great Falls, Montana. He was the only black kid in the Catholic school in Great Falls, Montana. We're talking about there being less than 1,000 black residents in the entire state
oh,
at
I
that time.
yeah,
In the entire
yeah,
state in 1970. Oh my God!
yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway,
Butte,
he and
Montana
I,
was very much that way when I was there.
all the other black kids thought he was weird, but I liked him. I always liked weird.
Yeah.
So he became my roommate. This poor guy, he used to go into the library at his Catholic school and tear out the ads in the back of the Ebony magazine in the library so he can order a daishiki or an
Oh, wow.
apple cap because he wanted to get in touch with his blackness. But he was in Montana. This is 50 something years ago,
Yeah, I can only
and we're still
imagine what
close
it
to this
was like
day.
back
Yeah,
then.
but all going back to what I really wanted to be.
Yeah, you're in
I
Seattle. Sorry,
decided
I knocked you off course there.
even though I've worked for the best corporations, I can in America, that the Fortune 500 companies of the time, uh, I always had an extra business on the side. I had a convenience store, I had women's shoe stores, but
Oh, that's right.
I really wanted to be a horse trainer, a thoroughbred horse trainer.
Hmm.
I wanted to be the first black trainer to win the Triple Crown in horse racing.
How
Kentucky Derby,
old were
Purchase, and
you when
Belmont.
you realized this?
About 22,
Okay.
23, but I had to
Now,
have a job out of college because I had to finish paying for a very expensive education at USC.
right, right. Well, that's what brings me in this show, you know, the focus, obviously, it's great to hear everyone's stories, but this is with young people in mind. You're hearing what he really wanted to do. He compromised, and I'm speaking to young people. He
Yes,
realized what he wanted to do, but it was compromised by having to pay for school. So these are the decisions. It's cool to dream, in junior high and high school when it doesn't have to become reality, but to make it become reality, that's a different animal. That's a different thing, no pun intended. He said horse trainer. But anyhow, go on with your
yeah,
story.
that's I didn't care about mucking out stalls, and I just wanted to be around the horses. I always had a love for horses and an affinity for the competition and the sport of thoroughbred racing.
Hmm.
But my mother says the Lord works in mysterious ways. When I started to be around horses, I found out that I was deathly allergic
Oh,
to horsehair, to dander, the horse dander. My
yeah.
throat would close up, and I went I went and got shots for 3 days a week for 2 years, and they still couldn't cure me. They would put all of that stuff, laundry detergent. I still can't go down the detergent aisle in the market without sneezing.
Really?
Freshly cut grass and horses, dogs, and cats. And I love dogs and I love horses. Don't like cats much, but
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. And so I'm going, So the next best thing was to be the handicap horses. The handicap horses means to play the horses, try to figure out who's going to look in your crystal ball, read all the statistics on the horses, and figure out who's going to win the race. Because you had competition and mathematics, which I always loved, at the same time, and got to be pretty good at it. My senior year at USC, I would go to Hollywood Park, and that's how I paid for school. A lot of times I handicapped privately. That means figure out who's going to win and give the information to a lot of celebrities. Jack Klugman used to be Quincy on TV. Telly Savalas used to be Kojak on TV. Vince Edwards was Ben Casey. I met those guys all at the racetrack, and they would give me $100 a winner. You know what $100 was in 1973?
Wow.
$100 a winner just for giving them information. And I would work hard every night on that racing form. I would read everything I could on the sport, and I developed several algorithms. Mattel came out in the early 80s with a calculator for horse racing. Mattel Toy Corporation, G.I. Joe, Barbie, those people.
Right.
I was the consultant for the horse racing calculator.
Interesting.
For Mattel. So I've always been really, really in love with the horses, and I wrote a book on trainer methodologies back in 1981. And it was the first book on trainer methodologies, because everybody was looking at trying to figure out what horse would win and trying to handicap the horses based on their past performances. And I said, you know what? The Leviathan behind the horses is the trainer. So I want to figure out what the trainer does when he's really trying to win, because I've heard trainers say to a jockey, look, the horse is going to be a little short today. He's going to need this race. Work him out for a half, and I'll give you the mount next time he runs in a couple of weeks. So the horse is not quite fit enough. But the public was the public's betting tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars on this horse, and he doesn't have a chance. So I wrote the book on trainer methodologies, and I ran an ad in the racing form, and the ad read, do you know what the trainer's true intentions are? And they said, you can't say that. You're implying that they're not trying every time.
Right.
Well, they're not trying every time.
Yeah.
They're not trying every time.
Smart.
So, yeah. So I handicap the people, because once we find something that works as human beings, we go back to that time and time again. You find out a man's modus operandi or a woman's modus operandi, you can pretty much know when to bet and when not to bet if they have the horse. If the horse is only a part of the component, but the guy behind the scenes picking the jockey, working the horse out, doing the training, these guys are the ones that are pulling the strings.
Gotcha.
And I've met a lot of people through horse racing. Some very famous people, Hall of Fame trainers sit next to me at Hollywood Park in my box I had the same box on the finish line for 27 years in a row. And my mother thought, she used to beg me, she says, how can you be all this formal education? You're such a good student, and you're out there with the guys with no teeth.
Guys with no teeth.
The guys with no teeth, because I walk in the racetrack and all the guys knew I was pretty successful at it. They started asking me for tips as I hit the gate, before I go up to the box. They're asking me, "Come on, man, give me a horse. I'm stuck." I have people coming. My daughters used to say, "Daddy, they're coming to kiss the ring," because they come to the box. They come to the box and ask me, say, "I'm stuck. I've spent my rent money. I'm down 5,000 a day. Can you help me? You have anything, please?" But I guess I like that feeling that it's the power that you kind of have.
Right.
Uh, and you and I don't know how. I said I started out to be a geologist or a doctor or a cowboy, and here I am at the races. I've always had a job. I've always worked for a corporation, but I've always been in management. I would work hard in the morning, go to the races in the afternoon, because that's what I love. And to this day, I retired 17 years ago at 57. And all I do now is play the horses on my laptop. I've developed a very successful algorithm for, it's called In Reality, and I do quite well with it.
This is a business you have. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I had a site. I took the site down because I was having to get up for the East Coast tracks at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah.
In Los Angeles time, and I'm 73 years old. I said, you know what? I'll just do this for myself. And I have a few
okay.
people. I have a few people that I send the information to that are real close that I've known over the years. But all my friends are really dying off. And with AI, people are into AI. Well, I was into AI and neural networks and support vector machines 15 years ago. For the horses, always the application was the horses,
Right?
and I've taken it to a whole different level now.
But you just do it for yourself.
Do it for myself, and actually, your cousin, who used to hate to go to the racetrack, all of a sudden, she says, "Oh, Daddy."
Oh, is
Yeah,
that right?
Yasmin has the people at work even wanting to do it, because sometimes on her laptop she'll just play back east or whatever, and she says, "Send me the printout for the day," and she that's okay, and she hated the racetrack and doesn't know anything. It's just numbers, and I'm able to give you a true what I do is, instead of projecting or running simulations, I've collected a database of over 16,000 races, and I've been able to identify or put every horse in the race an identifier, an index number, and then I compare those today's race in the exact same distance, class level, every per size, everything else all the dimensions that would go into figuring out on paper who or in the computer which horse is going to win. I'm able to identify. I handicap a race, not the horses. So I compare races. I find races that are exactly like today's race that have been run in the past, and then I just give a printout. I just run the program, and it tells you in today's race, there's 714 races like this. This horse won 38% of the time. This horse won 15% of the time. But the public can't see that. They're betting jockeys, the colors. They're betting other people. They're betting. Some people like gray horses. Some people like black horses.
Oh wow.
Some people like numbers. My favorite number is 7. They'll run out to the races and stuff. I call those feeder fish. When you go to the races, they're like feeder fish because they might get lucky every once now and then, but they have really no chance besides isolated lucky days.
Yeah, they're basically playing a slot machine, but with horses instead of a.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because they don't have to think, they can just play off of emotion. Yeah.
And I run into this all the time, and there's so many people I've learned in this business in the horse racing, people don't want to think. They want somebody else's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They value somebody else's opinion more than theirs,
This entire
and
world is
they
going
don't
that
they
way.
don't want to do they don't want to do the work. They want to do and they believe in pie in the sky. I believe in you work hard, you plant corn, you get corn. You work hard. Work Working hard beats genius. It beats luck. It beats fortune and everything. Hard work. And
Yeah.
I've done the work and it's not like work because I loved it. It melded and married uh, things I love, mathematics and competition and horses. So,
You've created a niche for yourself. A little sphere of happiness. It sounds like.
and it was organic too. I was just true to myself. And that's what I would tell anybody. Uh, do what you want to do. Don't worry about anybody else. Don't think that you don't have it together because nobody, the president of the United States doesn't have it all together.
Right.
Everybody stares up at the ceiling at 3 o'clock in the morning and ponders their life
Yeah.
on more than one occasion. So don't beat yourself up. You just find what you love and do it because you love it, and things will come a lot faster than you forcing it. Trust me.
I totally agree with that. Let me ask you. You can make it as deep as you'd like. Do you feel you've lived a full life?
Boy, Keith, I have lived between my wife and we've lived our lives and two or three other people's lives at as much as two or three other people combined. I've been so blessed, traveled all around the world. I've shot dice with guys again with no teeth in back alleys of Marrakesh. I've been all over the world. Uh, I love the Middle East. When I was a little kid, my grandmother bought, and I was born, she bought some old Encyclopedia Britannicas, black and white encyclopedias. And I would lay in the floor, she said, because this boy's going to be something. He's going to go to college one day. And I was the first one in our family to graduate from college. I would lay there and look at all these places and say, the pyramids of Egypt, I'm going to go there one day. My mother used to pass by and say, you're never going to be able to afford to go there. I get tears in my eyes and I cried when I came through like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade when he got to Petra. When they walked across, he walked across the invisible.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Last Crusade when he went in and was with the knights. They had been guarding the chalice
Right.
that you drink out of. When I got there, I started crying like a baby. When we meandered through the gaps in the hillsides, and we ended up, and all of a sudden there was Petra carved into the mountainside. This magnificent structure. And I said, I remember when I was a little kid, I used to go there just to escape. I used to come to this picture. So, and the same thing with the pyramids or China, or we climbed Kilimanjaro. My wife and I climbed Kilimanjaro. And I remember laying on the floor watching a movie called The Snows of Kilimanjaro. And my father was asleep on the couch, and he wouldn't let me turn the channel to the cartoons when I thought he was dozing. But anyway, I've done all that. So I have lived a great life, a full life. If I pass tomorrow, and I'm of the age where all my contemporaries are passing, and I think my best friend just passed a month ago. I've known since 5 years old.
Right.
Grandfather of his kids and stuff. I have lived a full life. I can say that I wasn't cheated. I'm glad I did it this way. I'm glad everything happened that happened. And I feel truly blessed. Yes, I've lived a full life.
That's awesome.
I've
That's
been
a
all over the world, eating the best foods in the world, stayed at the finest hotels, um, met some fantastic people. I'm sitting across, we're in Venice, Italy at dinner, and I'm sitting across from the chancellor, not the vice chancellor, the chancellor of Austria,
wow.
and his son sitting next to me, and the richest man in Austria, sitting across from him, sitting next to him. They're both sitting across from me, and we're at dinner in Venice, Italy, because his love for art. My wife's an art lover and art collector, and we get invited all over the world because of her. She would speak, or we would go to the museum. She's on the Smithsonian board in Washington D.C. Uh, but between us, we've lived a wonderful life, and we're two kids from the inner city of Los Angeles. She went to Crenshaw High School, Boys in the Hood, Crenshaw, that school. And
Right.
I went to Manual Arts, which was rougher than her school. Crenshaw was a brand new school. All the guys went over there. They couldn't make our football team. They were stars over there
Mm,
at Crenshaw. But we have been blessed, and we both when we pray and we say it all the time, we have been so blessed. Thank you, God.
that's
Thank you for
awesome. That is
yes.
that is awesome. Well, I won't keep you. I won't keep you. Time is valuable in this life. I have one last question that I'll ask you, and I ask every guest this question. Kind of ties in with the last question. I didn't really expect that, but okay. Just I like to draw the scene because I'm dramatic, but
I knew you when you were born. By the way, the listeners, the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, when Keith was born,
oh gosh.
they took him out with forceps, took him out of my little sister with forceps, and his head he kind of had a pointed head for a long time. He looked like an alien. And my sister, his mother used to say, you went to see that stupid Close Encounters movie. Now my son looks like an alien.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Never told that story on the show. That's for sure. Yeah. No. Oh. Before I ask this question, I'm gonna let you tell it. I think they've heard my perspective on the story. Yeah, he handicaps horses unless you happen to be 19 years old with four of your best friends and you really need to turn your $300 into $3,000. Do you remember? And
Yeah, I wanted you to lose.
yeah, yeah.
I wanted you to lose. And I've done that with a lot of young people that try to make fast money. It's the roughest game in town. I don't want you to get hooked.
Cured all of us. I don't think all from Matt to Jeff, Keith Studley, everybody. I don't think any of us gamble. I mean, sure, you put something in a slot machine, walk into to the room if you're in Vegas, but
To the buffet.
yeah, to the buffet. Gosh, I haven't eaten at a buffet in years. Yeah, no. That day, guys, maybe I didn't tell this story on the podcast. My friends and I were in a 19-year-old's financial bind, whatever that means to you, all of us individually. And I don't even know how I don't remember if you just invited us or if it was my idea, but we would come to my uncle's house for, Super Bowl party or something like that. And my uncle's being very modest, but he was the successful older guy that, really nice home, gift to gab, all that good stuff. And he had all his horse stuff. So my friends would always ask, hey, we need to hang out with your uncle. We need to go, kick it with your uncle. And I don't remember how it got started, but on one Saturday afternoon at Hollywood Park, he taught all of us a lesson. I'll let you go from there.
When you guys came to visit me in the box, and I said, I got a couple of winners, but if I give this to these boys, they're going to think this is easy money and life is going to be easy. So I let them I told them the wrong horse on and sent one of my friends up to make my bet on purpose because they were too pumped.
Heck
They
yeah,
just
we
knew we were
were.
going to make some money.
We had
They were
already
so pumped.
spent that money. We didn't even know we
You
were going to
guys were
win.
so pumped. You had did all this bragging. I was so pumped. I didn't want to burst your bubble, but I couldn't let you guys win. I would be. I would have been. That would have been terrible. Of your your uncle. The I
No,
had to give you guys a life lesson.
and you did it in layers because I
Yeah.
remember distinctly we first got there. You said, "Hey, go turn this ticket in for me." So we go, me and my friends, we go turn the ticket in, and so you know get the money for people who've never been to a horse track. I don't even know if they have horse tracks out here in Georgia, but anyway,
No, they don't.
no, I didn't think they did. So we go, and the guy before us, he's a really old man. The lady's like 4,000, 4,200. And he goes, thank you. And he was like very nonchalant about it. And me and Matt, we were like, oh my gosh. Oh man. And that guy turned around. That was the first blow that we were kind of like, that's interesting. He goes, he turns around, he goes, you think that's a lot of money? And we go, heck yeah, yeah. You know, we're 19 years old. And he goes, I've lost my family. My kids don't talk to me. He just went on down the line. He goes, do you know how many times I've lost more money than this? And, you know, all of our smiles turned to frowns. He goes, don't ever think, you don't come back. What are you guys doing? He gave us like a whole, it was almost like you hired him. And we were like, we're 19. We let him say his piece. And we said, oh, we're sorry. You know, we're just kind of here just checking it out, man. He goes, yeah, you don't want to come back here. You don't want to make this your regular thing. And we said, okay. And then he went on his merry way. I was like, shit, you don't know my uncle. We're about to get paid. So we turned in that ticket. And sure enough, it was a couple grand. And I was like, dude. And Matt's like, oh, bro. It's on. It is on. Oh, man. And like you're saying, we were already looking at the next 5 trips. We're like, oh, we're going to hang out with him all the time. And I brought the money back to you. And I remember you had us get up and we went to a television screen and it was like a pass race. And you were like, here's the horse you're going to bet on. And you showed us the wrong horse. And but it was the same horse that was on the screen from a prior race. And you go, look at him. And this horse was in last place. And then at the straightaway at the end, just came and just smoked everybody. He goes, that's our horse. And I said, and Matt's like, dude, it's on. Oh my God. Yep, let's go. And I remember you were like, all right, how much did you bring? How much did you bring? And I got 175. I got 100. I got this and that. And we all took our money up to the window and you showed us how to bet. And it was a very good lesson. But I'll tell you this, that was one of the most exciting, probably 25 seconds we ever experienced as young guys.
A minute 30.
A minute and 30? Okay, a minute and 30. It went too quick. Man, that was fun. Until that horse came in dead last. And we looked at him. You couldn't even hold it in. He's doing what he's doing right now. He just we're like, what the what? And my friends are all, dude, I don't have any more money. And we had just started getting little bills about ourselves, you know, a little car payment, or there were we didn't have cell phones back then. Pagers, you know, stuff like that. And we were going, hey, we never actually thought we would lose. That's not even, we had put that much faith in you. And I don't even remember. I think we sat there for the rest of the races. It felt like it, just quiet. And at the end, he went ahead and gave us what we bet. He went ahead and gave us our money back. I remember that. And he said, y'all don't come here anymore. We never went back. We never went back. I remember we drove from Hollywood Park to Melrose to go to Pink's to get hot dogs. And afterward, we drove the street the entire way, just blown away going, man. But you still got your props because Matt and Keith and everybody goes, and he actually paid us our money back. I go, yeah, you know what? I don't think he bet on the same horse that we bet on. But it didn't matter. We weren't going back. And
I have done that to so many people, adults too.
Oh
Adults
man.
I have a friend named Tony, lives up in Seattle, in Bellevue, Washington. I took him to Long Acres one day and did the same thing to him because he kept begging to go, begging to go. He said, "You always have money. You just bought a convenience store. You didn't do it." I said, "It's the toughest game in town. You don't want to do this." He had to go.
Yeah.
And he talked about his last $200. He had a wife and two little kids.
There, nothing beats.
And I gave him his money back at the end. He never asked to go back again.
Heck no.
And I talked to him. That man is 68 years old. Yeah, 69 years old. And he still talks about to this day. He says, "I can't believe how you took me to the racetrack, but you gave me my money back." I said, "You never went back, did you?" He said, "No, I didn't."
No. Yeah, no. We were in awe. We were happy. We were sad at the same time because we had already spent the money in our minds. And this is when we drove off with our money back. We were all kind of going, well, there goes that scheme. Because that was supposed to be the answer. We were going to learn the way and not be regulars. But, hey, whenever we're running a little low,
that is not the place to go.
No,
Whenever
it's
you're
not.
running a little low, that's not the place to go.
We spent many a time in Vegas after that. We did everything else but gamble. I remember that. No. A couple of us got lucky on blackjack tables here and there. But for Keith, I was always going, nah, I'm good. It cured me. I said, nope. Anytime I went to Vegas, I go, look, I tell my wife now, I go, well, now we live in Georgia, but when we would go to Vegas, I go, I'd rather take you shopping and waste the money than gamble it, not win a thing, because she wants to play Wheel of Fortune slot machines, and not win a thing, and then we still want to go shopping. I go, no, let's just go shopping. Forget it. It's fine. We'll skip it, Yeah, no, I always have my $100 rule. If I don't win anything spending $100 at the blackjack table, then I'm done. But there's been times where I have won and I just play off the winnings, and if I end up losing it all on the same night or leave with a little $400, fine. That's it though. No. Anyhow,
I'm real proud of you. You've done wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm really proud of the human being that you turned out to be.
You run into your 18-year-old self in a park. You know what you look like at 18, but he don't know he's going to look like you. So you see him first and you sit down beside him. What would you tell him?
Do as many things as you can do in life. Experience is what life's about. Don't limit yourself. Never say I can't. I would say that the most important thing is at the end of the day, before you're closing your eyes for the last time, you want to be able to say to yourself, I was a good human being, and I can look myself in the mirror and really like the person that I see back.
Yeah.
That reflection. You want to be able to, you don't want to do things that you carry that baggage for the rest of your life. You're going to make some mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. Again, remember, nobody has their stuff totally together, but you don't want to do anything that's so egregious that you can't look at yourself in the mirror. I know people, and I've talked and counseled people that have that problem, and it's a miserable feeling. They know that they did something wrong, and it was so bad, and they knew they were wrong, and they can't let it go. It haunts them for the rest of their lives. And every time they look at themselves in the mirror, they don't really like themselves. Like yourself. It's okay to be goofy sometimes. It's okay to not have it all together, like I said. Just keep living. Just keep living and put one step in front of the other, and you'll be surprised the places that life will take you.
This is very true. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Uncle, thank you for doing this episode.
I'm proud of you, and keep up the good work, and keep on communicating with people. That's what it's all about.
I enjoy it more than anything else.
And you always have.
Yeah.
You've been talking. You're a little alien. I told you, close encounter.
Yeah, something like that.
Curious. Like you gathering data on take back to another planet.
Yeah, I always
data on the human beings.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned Trey. I love Matt and Trey, but I always remember Trey at one of my parties doing a backflip in the house. We're all out there dancing. He does a complete backflip, and Trey must have weighed about 250 then.
Yeah.
And he did a complete black. I think I sobered me up. I might have been drinking that day, and I'm going like, dang.
Yeah.
I can't believe he did that.
Yeah.
Those were some happy times. They were like 18, 19 years old, you guys were.
Simple times, man.
Simple times.
Simple
times.
Fun. Having the time of our lives. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment. We're on everything. Spotify, Apple, you name it. I'm on it. And if you'd like to be on the show, please reach out. Shoot me a DM. Shoot me a message. I think the kids say DM. But shoot me a message. Give me a phone call. Or if you'd like to come back on the show because you didn't get your fair due and tell me another story, great. Do so. Thanks again for listening. God bless to everyone. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.